Good morning, PT on Ice. We will get rolling on Instagram here in just a minute. Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. Happy Monday morning. My name is Dr. Alexis Morgan. I am one of two lead faculty with clinical management of the fitness athlete, pregnancy, and postpartum. Thanks for joining the show this morning. Good morning. First of all, we just need to stop for a second and congratulate Kelly Benfey. She did amazing this weekend at Granite Games. Hope you all were able to watch her perform. She did a fabulous job. She finished in 19th, so top 20 in semifinals. Unbelievable athlete, unbelievable person. Unbelievable show. It was such a good weekend watching her perform and all of the other CrossFit athletes doing what they do best out there on the field up in Minnesota. So, without further ado, I want to talk about a topic that really almost always comes up anytime there's competition. So, this weekend, with it being Granite Games, we have people that are pushing themselves to their absolute limits and beyond. And so, really, every time there's a competition, there is going to be someone who's peeing their pants. Some female somewhere is going to be peeing in the competition. And when that happens, there's just a big uproar, a big talk about it in kind of our pelvic PT. Really, it's kind of we're talking about it in kind of our normal circles as well. Just people talking on podcasts and stuff. And so I just wanted to take a little bit to talk about it. Because we kind of, we have this, the pendulum swings, right? So we have this, peeing on yourself is really bad and you shouldn't do it. And you should avoid all of those things that cause you to pee. And then on the other side of that pendulum swing, is it's celebrated, right? And it's so good, and that means you are pushing yourself to your absolute limits, and you should strive for that. And so we kind of just wanted to talk about, or I kind of want to talk about this morning, where is it that we lie within that pendulum swing? So, one of the athletes, Fee Sagafi, this weekend, she was wearing like really light gray leggings, and on one of the run events, you could definitely tell that, or on, you could definitely tell that she had some pee that was kind of going down through into her adductors in those leggings, and it was very, very obvious. And so we were talking about that. And then even just when Danielle Brandon was competing last weekend, um, she was talking about in some post WOD interviews about how she was pushing it so hard on the run and she was peeing all over herself on that run. And so, really, when we talk about peeing your pants, especially in these athletic endeavors, it really is multifactorial. People ask me, why is it that they're peeing their pants? Why they haven't even had kids? Like, what's going on? So, number one, we have to account for increased intra abdominal pressure. So, the pelvic floor, they're muscles. They rely on everything above them and a good environment to be able to do their job, to be able to close off those holes, to be able to uplift and support the organs above. And that's their biggest role, especially when it comes to athletic endeavors. And so when we increase the intra-abdominal pressure from above, whether that's by holding our breath, whether that is by wearing a weight belt, whether that is by just adding weight or adding load onto our body, be it a heavy barbell or dumbbells overhead, whatever that may be, but adding weight will also increase that pressure. When we increase the pressure, we are increasing the demand on the pelvic floor. More pressure means harder work for the pelvic floor to maintain continence for that person. Well, if we factor in that on top of number two, increased impact, so that may be running, box jumping, double undering, anything that we're jumping and we're having that impact, we're coming off the ground, we're going back on, off on, off on. When we have that impact, that's also going to make it more challenging for the pelvic floor, right? Because we've got not just the bladder and the urine in the bladder and the organs and everything coming down, but we've got a lot of force coming down with all of that ground reaction force. So it makes it more challenging. So that's number two. So one being increased intra-abdominal pressure, two being increased impact, and three being just fatigue, right? When we've got athletes who are pushing themselves to try to make it to the CrossFit Games. Like they are going to push themselves well beyond what their training has led them to because they are trying to beat the girl next to them to be able to make it to the CrossFit Games. That induces a high level of fatigue. Not to mention they've got two events every day when we're talking about like the Granite Games this weekend. So they're doing some really difficult tasks and factoring in our first two things of increased intra-abdominal pressure, increased impact. Now we've got fatigue on board. So we have an increased demand of the muscles lasting for a much longer period of time than usual, and increased fatigue of these muscles. And sometimes that whole system that maintains the continence, it just fails for some people. And it's a muscular response. So, yeah, people who have had babies are more likely to experience incontinence, especially in sport. We actually have just a new study that just came out, a systematic review with a meta analysis looking at 13 different studies of CrossFitters versus other folks. Maybe they exercise, maybe they don't. And looking at the differences in stress urinary incontinence rates. And people who do CrossFit have higher rates of urinary incontinence. And one of the factors that increase their risk, even within the category of doing CrossFit, is having had a vaginal delivery. So we know these things can play a role or can just add as another factor, making it a little bit more challenging for those muscles to do their jobs. but it doesn't mean that that's the only thing. And I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing this again at the CrossFit Games because of these same exact reasons. And so it's bothering me because a lot of times this rhetoric is, well, this is bad. Peeing on yourself is bad. This exercise that you're doing that's causing you to pee on yourself, that is bad. We need to hold back. We need to not do that. And it drives me nuts hearing that and reading that because I look at the level of athletes that these individuals have have worked to get to, and they have so much physical capacity. They have so much physical reserve. They're doing so much good for their bodies and really arguably good for them and setting up their fitness capacities for decades to come. Why would we stop people from doing this just because they're peeing their pants? I really don't think that stopping this is the answer. That may be the question, but that's not the answer. The answer is having people like us being ready to come alongside them and help them understand these impacts, help them understand these factors that increase their likelihood of peeing, and help them train to where they're not doing that. Help them understand how to use their pelvic floor, how to relax their pelvic floor. If it's getting fatigued, can we spend some time to let it relax when you're letting your body rest for a second? Like, can we teach them? We say yes. This is all we talk about in our pregnancy and postpartum courses, live and online. We talk about this because this is so important. It is not going to help anyone to say stop exercising. We already have a lack of exercise issue in our country. We need more people to exercise. We don't need to be picking and choosing other people's exercise and other people's form of enjoyment and social fulfillment. We just need to come alongside them and help them figure that pelvic health piece out so that it's not holding them back, so that they can keep going further. So I really think that as far as the question of the title in the podcast this morning is peeing bad. you know it's really like kind of like asking, is pain bad? We have athletes who experience pain, and when they're, doing some level of workout, and sometimes there's injury with that, but they weigh those risks and they know that their sport or that workout is going to give them much more than it's going to take away. So we help them get out of pain, we help them heal, we help them recover, and back to their sport they go. And I feel like treating peeing your pants in the same way is so important. Yeah, sometimes that's going to happen as a kind of a failure of that system. That doesn't mean that that system needs to stop putting itself in that situation. We just need to make the system more robust. So we're going to come alongside them. We're not going to celebrate it. We're not going to shame it. We're just going to come alongside them, help them understand it, and move forward with that. So if this interests you, please consider joining the massive tribe of fitness forward pelvic physios coming forward and helping pregnant, postpartum athletes, helping just your everyday athlete optimize their pelvic health, optimize their fitness journey. We would love to have you. We're going to be live in the next couple of weeks in right outside of Atlanta. There's a few spots left for that one. And then July 5th is our next online cohort. So hope you all are planning to make that, and hope you all have a wonderful week. And we will see you next time. Thanks for joining, everyone.